What makes an Indo? Are you a descendant of an Indo? Did your grandparents migrated from the Dutch Indies? And what is an Indo? This is what my project and mission is all about. Reach out to Indos all over the world to make the next book about Indos worldwide. My name is Armando Ello and I am a portrait photographer. First of all, I have discovered that I am an Indo myself. Out of personal interest during my whole career, I'm portraying people with Indo-European roots. And because of my curiosity, I've listened and learned a lot from them. My first book about Doubt Indo was published in 2015, about the next Indo generations here in the Netherlands. But I think it's time to unite Indos all over the world, because the Dutch Indo story is only part of the total history we share. This project became bigger than finding my own pieces of the puzzle. It became about capturing who we are right now. And where do we come from? And if we are lucky, we can still ask our grandparents about the early days, before it's too late. For this project, I will make a time document, if you will, to teach the next generations about our story, preserve the culture as it is right now and how it is changing. So I ask you for your help. I financed this project from my own pocket and invested the time to photograph 46 people last year for this project already. I've been to the north of Sweden to capture one particular person, and now in the final phase of the production I need to capture almost 30 people and counting around the world in 12 countries. Is it possible? I believe so, because it is important to make and share this document. In this crowdfunding, I want to cover the cost for traveling in 4 weeks and print a book which can be shipped to your hometown all over the world. The book is a conversation starter, raising the awareness of being Indo, so we can give ourselves the chance to be proud of who we are. So how can you help? Share this on Facebook, like this video and donate to this mission. Check out the gifts you get from each donation. Every amount of dollar will help to make this book a reality. And if you're broke, you can still share this message. It must be good for karma points. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I can't wait to meet you in real life. And until then, Salamat Hari Natal. Merry Christmas. Signing off with huzoindo.nl/crowdfunding. And now follows the interview I did with Rick Boyd Bouwman. I did this interview in Sweden. You will see how I got there, what we did as well, and how I left. Obviously, I'm going to make a video as well. It might be as well a documentary. Enjoy the interview.
My name is Rick Boyd Bouwman, or Bouwman in Dutch. That's where I'm from Holland. And but at the moment I live in Sweden. So.
Ja, we vertrekken zo, weliswaar vertraging, dus ik ben benieuwd of we de tweede vliegtuig gaan redden. Like this.
From the minority that lives here, the Sami people. But people who came here as tourists, and this station is built by society, yeah, something like that. So they built here like a cabin, also to climb the top of Sweden, which is Kebnekaise, the highest point of Sweden. My girlfriend is Swedish, so at some point we had the choice to go or to Holland or to Sweden, and we chose Sweden, and I'm very happy with that. I went to Finland to do the International Wilderness Guide School. On paper I'm a wilderness and nature guide. So if you come to me and you want to go out in the forest, I can take you in any season in a safe manner. So my grandparents from my mother's side, they came from Java. You don't know exactly where. But what I found difficult in my case is that what is Indo? Huh? And you ask yourself the question. Then, for example, I had classmates who spoke some Malaysian words and were talking to me in Bahasa, and I couldn't understand anything what they're saying, just the small words. And then they were asking me, like, what kind of Indo are you? Yeah, good question. I'm feel Indo, but I don't speak that. Then one of my classmates actually in high school said, like, let's go to the Pasar Malam. You will feel like home there, all Indo people. So I went there. Ended up seeing like these old kroephoeks with Hawaii shirts playing some really, mellow music. I didn't feel at home like at all. And again, the question: what kind of Indo are you? This is being Indo. So then I got to put myself the question like, yeah, I am Indo, but I'm not that. Mm-hmm. So what? But I definitely feel Indo. So a long time I refused to kind of like go with them because I didn't feel like home, like at the Pasar or speaking some Malaysian word. It's not Indo for me. But what was it then? That I didn't know. Yeah. First of all, when I worked in Spain, then people start to speak Spanish to me because they think I'm from Spain. Or when I go to Turkey, they speak Turkish. But then I said, no, I'm not from Turkey. I'm not from Spain. Where are you from? From Holland. Really? Because you look so dark. Yeah, I look very tropical. So at some point I didn't want to answer that question anymore, and I answered always in a joke, like, where are you from? I am from the tropical part of Holland. That's what I said. I still answer sometimes. Yeah. And then it's always like, haha, tropical part, it's always raining there. Yeah. But actually I am. And then for the ones who are interested, ask more. Yeah. Then I want to explain them. And otherwise it stays just a joke.
Okay. And you also said to me you study history.
Yeah.
Did colonial history was any of interest in that?
Yes, it was. Those parts was really catching my interest, though, because it was about me or about my background. But I think the thing that brought me the most from the history school was more that how to see things from different perspectives, to be a bit more open-minded. That's what I got from it. Not so much about the history, actually, about our heritage, but more to see things with different eyes or with different glasses on. Yeah. And with the generations, we change. So, like a Dutch grandfather telling his granddaughter, "Oh, but that was different in my time," is the same as this Indo grandfather would tell his Indo granddaughter, "That was different in my time." So, when I went to the Pasar Malam, I didn't feel like home because it was not me in my time. It were a lot of things from the past that I could not relate to, simply because I didn't get them in with my family. So, so in the nowadays, I'm looking for something that we can pass on to or that I can relate to, and that's this project.
When are those moments when you feel you're Indo?
Now, actually, since the time that I accepted it, I feel always Indo, because I'm not feeling Dutch at all. Doesn't mean that I have Dutch cultural behavior sometimes, because I grew up there. I'm getting influenced by that. To give you an example, I'm quite direct in my work. Here in Sweden, in the north, it's all a bit like if there's a problem, you go around it, and you go around it again, and then maybe you would mention there's a cup on the table. I go the Dutch way, go quite straight to the point. But that's simply because I grew up in Holland. But when you grow up as a kid, and you hear in your family always like the Dutchman or Belanda, or like when something has really like a system, or something is really working out very well, and then it's like, that's such a Dutch system, or that's so Dutch. Yeah, of course, then you create we and them. So in that sense, like I'm really the other part, because I always grew up with that idea, like unconsciously. And it's not something that my parents and my grandparents were thinking about. It's just what it is. It's no good or wrong. When you get older, then you start to think about why you have certain behavior here and there, why you're a bit more shy, or why you do these things, or you have interest in that. So, and that's your question is actually a whole, for me, in my case, a whole paradox, because I feel different. And the paradox there, I think, is everything has to deal with my Indo background and nothing has to deal with that. So by growing up with hearing those things like, oh, the Belanda, this is such a Dutch thing, of course you create already like, okay, you are different than them. My tropical look is already different. That's what the first thing that people notice. So as a kid you don't notice that, but you grow up and then you're gonna think about it. But so I'm different because of my background. But there are also like thousands of Dutch people who feel different and are different. So in that sense, it doesn't make me different. Only I can say like my Indo background is like the base of that I was different. And I give that a place in my life. And I said like, okay, it is what it is. And this is why I might not feel at home in Holland, because of my Indo background. I mean, a Dutchman who is different would have other reasons for that. But I could not find my way in Holland. And I think that the Indo background definitely had an impact on that.
And what are other things what you would like to pass on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, because I'm still thinking about these kind of things. Like, yeah, what could be a thing? And that's why I think this project is so interesting, because it finally gives me something to give away. So the portraits that you made and the next project that's coming up. So those are things that I can show my kids, for example. Like these are all Indos, and that gives me something like a tool that I can tell about our heritage, where we come from. And my kids will most likely grew up in Sweden, so they will be influenced by the Swedish society from that time. But what I would like to give them the most is that they know where the family history lies. So more like a consciousness, that's the word, I think. So what I would like to give them is like the consciousness of the family history.
technique, take a picture.